If you're a family dealing with crisis, there's a place in Utah you can turn for help. Today we're talking with Dan Schultz. He's the clinical director from Lifeline. It's today's sponsored segment. Dan, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
What is Lifeline? So
Lifeline is a substance abuse and mental health facility. We actually offer 3 different levels of care. So we offer residential, and that typically is for a youth who's really in crisis, right? This is a youth who has chronic substance abuse, isn't really making improvements with like outpatient therapy and that kind of stuff, or we have a day treatment, and I almost look at that as like an alternative high school, right? We'll do school, you know, that's definitely part of residential and day treatment, but then of course we'll do therapy. It's like a Monday through Friday 9 to 5 kind of thing, and then intensive outpatient therapy where the youth come, and it's more of like an after school program. You know, they'll go to school. Our goal is to kind of get them integrated in the community and then have some support to deal with some of the issues that they're dealing with. And so we treat mental health issues, depression, anxiety, bipolar, you know, when a youth's been unstable, maybe they're suicidal. Those are kind of typical Lifeline youth or youth who are, you know, into the substance abuse and that kind of stuff. I
was about to ask the different things that you treat, but you mentioned there's a lot of different mental health issues, and it sounds like you approach it from many different angles.
Absolutely, but one of my favorite things to do in terms of work is we like to kind of treat the youth within the context of their family. Our kind of philosophy is that these issues don't just, you know, they're not just created in a vacuum, right? It's a family issue, and everyone in the family is also affected. And because of that, we want to make sure that the family is getting support and working through these issues together with their child. So we help the youth develop their treatment plan, but then we almost have like a family treatment plan. And we need parents, we need families to really be there to support their kid through that process, because it's tough, it's emotional. A lot of our youth have been through some horrific things. You know, you think about a teenage kid and you think life is free and fun and good. And some of our youth have been through some really tragic things. And our belief, of course, is, you know, youth who are having all of those behavioral issues, there's something deeper driving that. You know, it's trauma, it's grief and loss, it's divorce. And often our clients don't really have the coping skills to really like overcome that in like a healthy, adaptive way, you know. So yeah, it's a program we've been around since 1990 actually, and most of our youth are from the local community. You know, we love helping Utah families. That's like our favorite thing. We'll work with some out-of-state youth, but we really want to support the local community who unfortunately needs this kind of help.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot you can offer for them, but how do you get those families to that point? Because I'm sure there's families watching right now who can say, you know, I've got kids who they struggle with mental health issues. What advice can you offer them to get them to that point to get some of these services?
Well, you know, I think a lot of families will do outpatient services, which is great, you know, and I do tell families, if they don't need our services, that's great. We don't, you know, residential's tough. It's a big commitment. We look at it as though, how severe is the symptoms? That's really like, you know, if a parent says, you know, we've been trying different things to help, we worry about their life, their safety, then that's kind of when it's time to call. A lot of families will say, oh, we waited too long. We've been in denial. We didn't want to really embrace what was happening, and you know, it's important to call. Some of our admissions counselors will say, "Hey, you know what? They're not a candidate. Let's look at some outpatient services in the community," and that's great to kind of get a feel for how bad, you know, things have got, right? Yeah. So we don't want to overreact. We don't want to, you know, take a kid into residential unless they absolutely need it, and it's justified by the assessment, right? So that's an important part.
There you go. So if you want to get more information on how you can get your family some help from Lifeline, we have a link on our website, abc4.com/midday, talking with the clinical director from Lifeline, Dan Schultz. Dan, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
Helping these families out.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.